Narayanam namaskritya naram narottamam devim saraswatim vyacham tato jayam dīvayam nashikāya prabhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevam bhagavati uttam shloke nate bhavati naishti. So continuing with the discussion on Prabhupada Lilamrita by Srila Goswami, in chapter 47, today we start when Prabhupada is in San Diego. San Diego, July 27, 1975. Srila Prabhupada rode down the San Diego freeway in the pre-dawn darkness on his way to San Diego to attend a festival in Balboa Park. On the way, he passed through San Clemente, where former President Richard Nixon was staying. Prabhupada had followed Nixon's exposure and resignation and had often mentioned it in his lectures, sometimes as an example of how even the most powerful men are subject to anxiety and loss, sometimes to illustrate the need for proper training in the four natural social orders. So President Richard Nixon was caught in that Watergate scandal in Washington, D.C. And it became a big issue and he had to resign. But this is so true, how even the most powerful men are subject to anxiety and loss. And they're always in anxiety. More powerful one becomes, more rich one becomes, more anxiety it brings. We think if I have money, I'll be very happy. No, no. There'll be so many enemies. There'll be thieves, there'll be enemies, there'll be envious people, then the government wants to take it away. So many things. And one has to keep on working hard, whether one is rich or in politics and high position or in any other way. So he has to keep on working hard to maintain his position. And the Maya is so strong, we start identifying ourselves with that body and with that position. First with the body and then with the position. I'm the Prime Minister, I'm the President, I'm this and that. And then so much of attachment is there. We cannot give it down. Cannot give it. And then the next body, when we take, all those desires and karmas, they decide our next body. Like once Prabhupada said, suppose I want to be in the White House of America next life. My strong desire is there. But the karma bank balance is not there that I'll be there as President of the United States. So I can be born as a cockroach in White House. Krishna will try to fulfill the desire. So point is, what's the point in all these temporary titles, temporary positions? Nothing is permanent. It's all temporary. Whether we enjoy the title like US President for 8 years, most they can be the president. In India, they can be president for as long as the Prime Minister for as long as they want. But even if somebody is Prime Minister for his life, at the end of life, he has to leave that position. Or in US, after 8 years, he has to leave that position, and he's not president anymore. No, doesn't have all the privileges of the president. But the attachment is there. The attachment doesn't go away. It's a very difficult situation. And similarly, if somebody is an industrialist and he loses money, then how miserable he would be. It doesn't mean one should not make money, one should not become Prime Minister, President. attachment is wrong. That is where the Vedic knowledge comes in. That is why in earlier days, they were Raj Rishis. They were kings, but they were rishis, sages at the same time, because they were trained in uh, this system, properly trained, properly educated. And then when they became kings, like Bharat Maharaj, he just left the kingdom, just like that. Yudhishthira Maharaj, all the five Pandavas, even Draupadi Maharaj, the big war, such a big war happened just to put Yudhishthira Maharaj on the throne. But as soon as he found out Krishna has left, he just gave up everything without any attachment. Put Parikshit Maharaj on the throne, and that's it. He left. And all the Pandavas left. Draupadi Maharani also left. Generally, it is said, ladies are more attached. He was not at all attached to the opulence. This is a real education, real training. And that's why Prabhupada says, sometimes to illustrate the need for proper training in the whole natural social orders. A devotee mentioned that Mr. Nixon lived here with no position, scorned by his country. Then you should go and kiss your him, Prabhupada said. Since the man had lost everything and was lamenting, he said, he might be receptive to hearing about the absolute truth. Prabhupada had attempted a similar approach to Mahatma Gandhi. Yes. And in the end, Prabhupada wrote to Mahatma Gandhi. That letter is there in our archives. Whether Mahatma Gandhi read that letter or he received that letter, don't know. And Prabhupada wrote to him that you should immediately give up this political life and live according to the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise, you will meet inglorious death. Prabhupada wrote that. You will meet inglorious death. That's what happened. At Balboa Park, Prabhupada was pleased with the devotee schools and colorful tents and the stage they had erected in the meadow. He had just begun addressing the large crowd when a man in the audience began shouting. Prabhupada asked what he was saying, and the devotee explained, Srila Prabhupada, the man says he wants to have sex more than once a month. He is creating disturbance, said Prabhupada into the microphone. After a tense moment, Prabhupada continued his lecture. So as this man is talking about sex, so this whole material world is enchanted by sex. Taking the shouted protest as a new focus for his speech, Srila Prabhupada quoted Prahlad Maharaj's statement that all material entanglement begins from sexual enjoyment, which in comparison to transcendental pleasure is paltry and abominable. But real happiness, Prabhupada asserted, is above the senses. Whatever we enjoy with the gross senses is temporary, but permanent enjoyment is transcendent. In the material world, everything is temporary and everything is designed to be enjoyed by our gross senses. And then on top of it, Krishna has made it a dukhalaya. It's a place of misery. We think we are enjoying, but we are miserable. On the other hand, transcendental or spiritual happiness, pleasure, is permanent. Not just permanent. Anand Ambudhi Vardhanam. Anand Ambudhi. Ambudhi means ocean. It's an ocean of bliss. And Vardhanam, and it's always increasing. How can somebody understand? This is what we get glimpse, or we get some taste of it by practicing spiritual path. That is why those who are trying to enjoy materially, they say these devotees or yogis, they're crazy, and yogis say they are crazy. You're trying to be happy here in the material world, and there's no happiness. And they say, oh, you're trying to, not trying to enjoy it, but just wasting your life. Just like if somebody said, okay, don't eat meat, don't have illicit sex, don't liquor, no intoxication, no smoking, no gambling. And the other person says, then what are you living for? What's the point of your living? So they cannot understand life without all these things. But there is a higher pleasure, higher taste. One has to enjoy it. One has to taste it. Then he can never give it up. So this man, he continued, was suggesting he wants sex at least once in a month. Yes, that is allowed. 5 days after the wife's menstrual period, the husband and wife can have sex for begetting rightful children. Prabhupada used a Vedic technical term, Garbhadhan Samskar, to describe the process of purifying sex within marriage. The devotees were astonished that before a crowd of sexually liberated Southern Californians, Prabhupada was espousing responsible, legitimate sex. Usually he discussed such matters, if at all, in letters to householders. But if the Americans were intent on sex, then Prabhupada would let them have it. But he stressed responsible, restricted sex. Otherwise, by irresponsible sex, one has to suffer. One has to suffer. And this Garbhadhan sanskar, that's the first sanskar there. 10 sanskaras mandatory, actually, in the life of a human being. So Garbhadhan sanskar is done, whatever purification, how the yajna is done, to purify the womb of the mother by yajna, by chanting of mantras. So that when husband and wife unite, a proper, deserving soul enters that womb. Through, of course, through the semen of the father. So that's why so much of purification has to be required. And husband and wife, they have to be in the right consciousness to have proper children. Otherwise, as Prabhupada has mentioned, Bhagavatam also says that otherwise it's just like having kids, like dogs and hogs. They don't have any sanskar, they don't follow any procedure. And for ISKCON devotees, at that time, we didn't have all these procedures of sanskar, how to do the sanskar. Prabhupada just mentioned, later on devotees compiled books on that. But that time Prabhupada said, okay, husband and wife both chant 50 rounds that day when they want to have children. At least they are in the right consciousness. Purification of the atmosphere is there, purification of the body is there. So the proper soul enters. Otherwise they create havoc. Just like when Kardam Muni and Diti, they united. And it was wrong time, in the wrong mood. Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha were born. Of course, that is part of Leela of Krishna, that is fine, but the instruction was there. One should not unite, just like animals. Sex life is not denied, Prabhupada said, but one must take responsibility for sex life. Otherwise, it becomes entangled in so many sinful activities. You can have sex life once in a month. That is prescribed. Because a woman has once in a month menstrual period. So sex life is meant for simply begetting nice children, not for sense gratification. If it is in regulative form, the world may not become hell. If it is in irregulative form, then the whole world will be hell. Sex life is not denied. Sex life is not denied, but in a regulated form, so that you can get nice population and live very happily. And this is how Satyuga was. And slowly, everything goes down, all the qualities go down, and Kali Yuga means, and it's just the beginning of Kali Yuga, what we are going through, and it's so hellish. What will happen? Kali Yuga is at its peak, especially at the present moment. If we can produce children to become Krishna conscious, that would be a great service to the Lord, because we want a Krishna conscious population. Otherwise, this world is going to hell. There were great empires like the Roman, Greek, and later on the Mughal Empire, the British Empire. Then there was Napoleon, Hitler, Mussolini. So all these powerful empires and men have come and gone. Only a name is there now. Nothing is rich. So I came to your country, America. Decided to come here because I heard your country is very nice. And when I came here, I saw actually that your country is very nice. Your cities, your buildings, your men also, because mostly my students are American. And they help me very kindly to push on this movement. So I've studied American life very nicely. They have a good heart. The only thing that is wanting is Krishna consciousness. For want of this Krishna consciousness, despite all your opulences, you are becoming confused and frustrated. I hear that out of three, one man is a patient of a psychiatrist. Why? Why are you unhappy? Why should you be unhappy? You have got everything, enough food, land, money, intelligence. Why should you be unhappy? The cause of this, you should try to find out. The cause is that without Krishna consciousness, without God consciousness, nobody can be happy. And that is true. And not just now, one out of three men, Prabhupada at that time is a patient of a psychiatrist. It has gone even above now. Or the antidepressant medicines, they just sell like anything in America. So depressed. And actually, what is depression? Just to think about. Depression is when I have desires and they don't get fulfilled. Then I become depressed. Then what am I lacking? Why I'm not getting whether the job or the money I want or the boy or girl I want? Why I'm not getting? I want to have that to enjoy. And on top of it, my neighbor or my friend or my relatives, they have such a nice house, they have good car, and nice family, and they don't know the mental situation of that neighbor or a relative or friend who's supposedly enjoying. We don't know. But I am getting depressed. My desires are not fulfilled, not getting fulfilled. If somebody understands the philosophy, Krishna conscious philosophy, there's another sense. I'm going to get whatever I deserve. Simple as that. Whatever Krishna ordains, I'll get it. And whatever he does, it will be the best for me. He's my best friend. Whatever he gives, it will be the best thing. I should be happy. I'm enjoying. I should enjoy whatever I have. One can work hard to get more or be satisfied in whatever one has and just keep work just to maintain one proper lifestyle. That's all. That's up to a person. But this satisfaction can only come when you're Krishna. When we have faith in the Lord. But if we don't have faith, then it's always, oh, I'm depressed. And people talk more about it to their friends or to their counselors, then they get more depressed. First is medicines, whatever the Prozac, that is most popular medicine. It doesn't take you out of depression. It just suppresses your emotions, makes you like you don't know what's going on. Just suppresses, doesn't make you think what is reality. And as soon as the medicine wears out, then we have to face the reality. So the idea behind this antidepressant medicine is that the person should not get to the point of committing suicide. So just make him like a drunkard in that state. What's the point? He's not getting cured. But this knowledge, this training is missing. The outdoor audience was now quiet and attentive. Prabhupada spoke for about 40 minutes, ranging over different areas of Krishna conscious philosophy, and concluded with a request to the American men and women to seriously cooperate in Krishna consciousness and thereby find happiness. His talk was greeted with cheers, and the devotees continued to host the crowd throughout the afternoon, chanting and dancing and distributing prasada. An Indian visitor was explaining to Prabhupada why India had to build up nuclear weapons and armed forces, but Prabhupada disagreed. The reason, he said, was the dearth of genuine Kshatriyas. There were no more men of courage. Therefore, a woman was now in charge, woman Indira Gandhi. So there was a dearth or lack of genuine Kshatriyas in the society, not being trained as Kshatriyas. So nuclear weapons and so much of technology. Now in warfare is all about these weapons and with technology. America is ahead of everybody because they have spent so much money on developing newer technology, newer weapons, newer aircrafts, and ships, and everything. But if we really work with the US Navy people, they're not the real Kshatriyas. Real Kshatriyas, even Prabhupada said, there are only two, either Sikhs or Gurkhas. They're real Kshatriyas. In America, we don't have those. They could be good fighters, and because they have good technology, good weapons. And well, society is not developing, not training new Kshatriyas. So this is how, and the problem is when you put Shudras involved, they don't fight like Kshatriyas. They don't. First, if they're losing, they'll run away, and second, even if they win, they create havoc in the society, whichever city they've gone. Shudras or less than Shudras, whether it is killing the civilians or just raping women or just doing everything, all sorts of nonsense. That's not Kshatriya. That's not how Kshatriyas fight. But this is how Kali Yuga is. Kalu Shudra Sambhava. Everybody is a Shudra in Kali Yuga. So the only solace is take up this devotion service more seriously, more sincerely. So we don't have to take birth again in this Kali Yuga. And Kali Yuga is going to get worse and worse. That's all. Okay, we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manta. Sure.
Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.